The Galactic Peace Academy stood as a beacon of unity. Nestled on the luminous moon of Zarian, it was the hub of interstellar diplomacy and education for the brightest young minds from across the cosmos. Students of every known species, feathered Chrythans, gelatinous Zurians, crystalline Shardkin, and more, gathered here to study, debate, and exchange knowledge in the pursuit of universal harmony. Yet, the arrival of the humans had unsettled even the most open-minded of these students. Humans were rare in the galaxy. Since their dramatic introduction to the galactic community nearly 2 centuries ago, they had remained elusive, their numbers in space limited to merchants, explorers, and scientists. The most perplexing mystery of all, however, was humanity's ban from participating in any form of galactic warfare. The decision, etched into Galactic Council law, was shrouded in secrecy, debated endlessly in quiet whispers, and dismissed as mere prudence by those in power. On this particular morning, the new cohort of students at the Academy gathered in the Grand Atrium, a crystalline dome offering an unparalleled view of Zarian's golden skies. The alien students buzzed with excitement as they speculated about the humans joining their ranks this term. "Have you seen one yet?" whispered Kralith, a Chrythan with sleek, iridescent feathers. Her wide, violet eyes darted nervously around the room. "I hear they're fragile," rumbled Vok, a towering Shardkin whose voice resonated like clinking glass. "Their bones snap under minimal pressure." "Fragile but clever," chimed in Azara, a Zurian whose translucent form shimmered with a faint blue glow. "They've mastered technologies we can barely comprehend." Before they could continue, the atrium doors slid open with a soft hiss, and the humans entered. 4 of them, dressed in the Academy's signature black and silver uniforms, their expressions calm and unreadable. The chatter in the room subsided as all eyes turned to them. One of the humans, a tall woman with piercing green eyes and an air of quiet authority, scanned the room. Her gaze lingered on the clusters of alien students, and for a brief moment, it felt as though she could see straight through them. The silence was broken by Professor Morith, the Academy's head of conflict resolution studies. "Welcome everyone to the Galactic Peace Academy. Let us begin." As the semester unfolded, the human students were met with a mix of curiosity and suspicion. They excelled in their studies, outpacing their peers in strategy and diplomacy simulations. Yet they remained tight-lipped about their species' history and warfare, deflecting questions with polite smiles and cryptic remarks. The mystery deepened during a mandatory exercise on planetary conflict resolution. Students were divided into teams and tasked with mediating a simulated dispute between 2 warring factions. The humans, grouped together, approached the exercise with an efficiency that bordered on unnerving. Within minutes, they had analyzed the factions' histories, predicted their moves, and devised a strategy that brought the conflict to a swift and decisive end. Their solution was unorthodox and ruthless, targeting the factions' supply chains and exploiting their weaknesses until they had no choice but to negotiate. When the simulation ended, the alien students were stunned. "That was terrifying," Kralith murmured. "They dismantled the factions without ever firing a shot." "They think differently," Izara said, her glow dimmed in unease. "It's as if they've been trained for this." Despite their unease, the alien students couldn't deny their fascination with the humans. They sought to uncover the truth behind humanity's ban from galactic war, piecing together fragments of information from ancient records and rumors. The turning point came during a lecture on the history of interstellar warfare. Professor Morith presented the class with a case study of the Galactic Reunification War, a conflict that had raged for decades before the formation of the Galactic Council. "Humans played no part in this war," Morith said, his voice measured. "Their homeworld, Earth, was still recovering from their own internal conflicts. However, records from that era suggest that their species possessed unique capabilities that made them unsuitable for inclusion in galactic military efforts." A hand shot up. It belonged to Eli Drake, one of the human students. His tone was calm, but there was a dangerous edge to his words. "Professor, with all due respect, I believe the term you're looking for is too dangerous." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Drake, who leaned back in his chair, his gaze steady. "Humanity's history is no secret," he continued. "Our capacity for war is unmatched because we've spent millennia perfecting it. We don't just fight wars. We adapt, we innovate, and we endure. And when pushed to the brink, we don't stop until the conflict is resolved. One way or another." The alien students exchanged uneasy glances. "Are you saying the ban was a precaution?" Vok asked, his crystalline form vibrating with tension. Drake shrugged. "Call it what you want. But the truth is, when humanity goes to war, we don't just fight to win. We fight to survive. His words hung in the air, heavy with implication. The alien students realized, perhaps for the first time, that the humans' ban from galactic war wasn't a limitation. It was a safeguard for the galaxy itself. Unsettled but intrigued, the students vowed to learn more, even as they questioned whether they truly wanted to know the full extent of humanity's power. Little did they know, the answers they sought would soon be revealed in ways they could never have imagined. The humans became the unspoken enigma of the Galactic Peace Academy. After Eli Drake's unsettling declaration, the alien students found themselves alternating between fascination and unease. Conversations buzzed in hushed tones during shared meals and late-night study sessions. Everyone had their theories, but no one had proof. Still, the humans carried themselves with an unshakable confidence. They remained polite, cordial even, but there was an undeniable edge to their demeanor. They were like predators in the midst of a flock, not actively hunting but instinctively reminding the others of where they stood in the hierarchy of power. Tensions reached their peak during a high-stakes training simulation. It was the most complex exercise the Academy had ever devised. A simulated galactic crisis involving resource disputes, insurgent uprisings and interplanetary sabotage. Each student was assigned a role based on their species' strengths, and they were grouped into mixed teams to foster collaboration. Eli Drake, along with another human student named Sarah Cole, was placed on a team with Kralith, Izara, and Vok. It was an odd pairing, but the Academy prided itself on diversity, believing it to be a strength in solving multifaceted problems. The simulation began with a standard diplomatic standoff between two fictional factions. Kralith took the lead, her Krithan instincts for negotiation shining through as she worked tirelessly to mediate. Vok provided tactical support, analyzing troop movements and supply chains with crystalline precision, while Izara served as the team's logistical coordinator. But as the crisis escalated, their combined efforts began to falter. Insurgent forces bombed a critical trade route, and one of the factions deployed orbital weapons aimed at civilian population centers. The clock was ticking and the situation spiraled out of control. That was when Drake and Cole stepped in. "Enough," Drake said, his voice cutting through the chaos like a blade. He leaned over the holographic console, his green eyes scanning the data with practiced ease. "This isn't working. We're reacting to their moves instead of dictating the board. We need to go on the offensive." "Offensive?" Kralith's feathers ruffled in alarm. "This is a peace simulation." Drake shot her a grim smile. "Peace is the goal, but it's not always the method. Watch and learn." Cole chimed in, her fingers flying across the console. "We need to disrupt their entire infrastructure. Cut off their supply chains, neutralize their command centers, and create enough internal chaos that they can't focus on external threats." Izara hesitated, her gelatinous form rippling with uncertainty. That sounds excessive. What about the civilians?" "Collateral damage is unacceptable," Cole said firmly. "We'll make it surgical. Precision strikes only." The alien students watched in stunned silence as the humans took control. Drake coordinated their moves like a maestro, orchestrating a symphony of chaos that left the simulated factions scrambling. Cole executed pinpoint strikes on strategic targets, crippling the enemy's ability to wage war without a single civilian casualty. Within hours, the simulation was over. The factions, brought to their knees, surrendered unconditionally. The holographic display dissolved, leaving the team standing in silence. "That was," Kralith struggled to find the words. "Efficient? Terrifying," Izara added, her glow dimmed to a pale blue. Vok, ever blunt, voiced what they were all thinking. "You've done this before. Haven't you?" Drake's expression darkened. "Not exactly. But humanity has a long history of conflict. We've learned to adapt." Cole crossed her arms, her gaze steady. "It's not about wanting war. It's about knowing how to survive it." Their words sent a chill through the team. The alien students had always viewed war as a last resort, a failure of diplomacy. But for the humans, it seemed war was something else entirely, a crucible that forged them into something stronger. The simulation's results were analyzed by the Academy's faculty, who praised the team for their unparalleled performance. Yet whispers of discontent spread among the alien students. Some questioned whether the humans belonged at the Academy at all. "They're dangerous," Kralith said during a late-night discussion with Izara and Vok. "Their methods are too extreme." "They're efficient," Vok countered, though his tone betrayed his own unease. "But I agree they think differently. It's like they're wired for conflict." Izara nodded slowly. "And yet they avoid it. They've been banned from galactic war for centuries. What happened that made the Council decide that? What are they hiding?" The question lingered, unanswered, as the students drifted off to their quarters. Unbeknownst to them, the answers were closer than they realized, and far more unsettling than they could imagine. The aftermath of the simulation left a quiet tension hanging over the academy. For the alien students, the humans were no longer just intriguing anomalies, they were unsettling enigmas. The whispers grew louder, spreading across dorms and lecture halls. Stories of Earth's violent history, once dismissed as exaggerations, were now treated with an air of foreboding. In the days following the exercise, Eli Drake and Sarah Cole found themselves the subject of sidelong glances and hushed conversations. They noticed it but said nothing, retreating into the camaraderie they shared. Despite the growing unease around them, the humans carried on as if nothing had changed. It wasn't until the next lecture on galactic warfare doctrine that the tension came to a head. The class was led by Professor Zalthar, a towering Borith known for his neutral stance and meticulous analyses. The topic for the day: historical conflicts and their resolutions. As you all know, Zalthar began, his voice a deep rumble, the Galactic Council has maintained peace for over 2 centuries, a feat achieved through stringent regulations and proactive diplomacy. But history is littered with lessons of failure. And none are as perplexing as the human wars. The holographic display shifted to show images of Earth's history, charred battlefields, cities reduced to rubble, and haunting footage of soldiers marching through smoke and fire. Gasps rippled through the class as the images played, and several students turned to glance at Drake and Cole. Humans, Zalthar continued, are unique among the galactic species. Where most civilizations outgrew internal conflict as they advanced, humanity seemed to escalate theirs. Their history is marked by periods of prolonged violence, culminating in wars that pushed the limits of their own survival. Kralith raised a hand, her feathers trembling. If humans are so prone to violence, why were they even considered for the Galactic Council? Zalthar's gaze flicked toward Drake and Cole as if gauging their reaction. Because humanity's potential is undeniable. Their resilience, ingenuity, and adaptability make them formidable allies, or adversaries. It is for this reason that the Council enacted the ban on their participation in galactic wars. A hushed murmur swept through the room. Vok leaned forward, his crystalline eyes fixed on the professor. But why the ban? Surely they could fight alongside us. Zalthar hesitated, his usual composure faltering. That is classified. The room fell silent, the weight of those words settling over the students like a shroud. Classified information was rare, especially in an academic setting. The implication was clear, there was more to the story than anyone was willing to admit. Drake finally spoke, his voice calm but laced with steel. It's not classified because we're incapable. It's classified because you're afraid of what we're capable of. All eyes turned to him. For a moment no one spoke. Then Kralith, emboldened by curiosity, asked the question on everyone's mind. What did you do? Drake leaned back in his chair, his gaze unwavering. It's not about what we did. It's about what we had to do. Cole crossed her arms, her tone as sharp as a blade. You think you understand war, but you don't. For humans, war isn't just strategy and numbers. It's survival. It's sacrifice. And sometimes, it's doing the unthinkable because the alternative is extinction. The room grew colder. Even Zalthar seemed taken aback by the raw honesty in their words. Izara, her glow dimmed to a pale hue, spoke hesitantly. But you have the capability to fight, to win. Why refuse now? Why let others fight wars you could end? Drake's expression softened, though his eyes remained shadowed. Because we know what it cost. And we know the galaxy couldn't handle it. Before anyone could respond, an alert blared through the room. Zalthar tapped a command into his console, and a holographic projection appeared. It was an emergency broadcast. A neighboring system was under attack by an unknown force. The simulation is over, Zalthar said, his tone grave. This is real. The students scrambled to their feet, panic evident in their movements. But Drake and Cole were already moving, their training kicking in. What's the situation? Cole asked, her voice steady despite the chaos. Zalthar hesitated before pulling up tactical data. An unknown fleet is attacking the Zarna system. They've overwhelmed the planetary defenses and are moving toward the colony hubs. Drake studied the data with practiced efficiency. They're not just attacking, they're systematically dismantling. They're clearing the board. The students stared at him, their fear palpable. What do we do? Izara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Drake's gaze swept over the room, his expression hardening. We fight. But the Council's rules, Kralith began, but Cole cut her off. Screw the rules. If we don't stop them, there won't be anyone left to enforce them. With that, the humans took charge, their confidence infectious. The alien students, despite their fear, found themselves drawn into their orbit, following their lead. For the first time, the Academy would face a real enemy. And for the first time, the students would see what humans were truly capable of. The battle for the Zarnis system would be remembered as a pivotal moment in galactic history, a day when theory gave way to brutal reality, and the Academy students discovered the true depths of humanity's capabilities. The alien fleet was relentless. Wave after wave of ships descended on the Zarnis colony, their weapons carving through planetary defenses like a scythe through wheat. The students, hastily assembled and ill-prepared for real combat, scrambled to hold the line. It was chaos, until the humans stepped in. Eli Drake stood at the command console aboard the hastily repurposed Academy training cruiser. Sarah Cole manned the tactical station, her fingers dancing across the interface as she coordinated the makeshift fleet of student-piloted ships. Around them, the alien students watched in awe and terror as the humans transformed the chaos into calculated strategy. "Redirect fire to grid sector C-12, Cole barked. "Force them into the asteroid field. They'll bottleneck themselves." Drake's voice followed, steady and commanding. "Prepare all boarding teams. If they get past the blockade, we'll take the fight to them. No one touches that colony." The alien students hesitated, their fear palpable. Vok, his crystalline form trembling, voiced what they were all thinking. "We're not ready for this. We're going to die." Drake turned to him, his expression hard but not unkind. "You're scared. That's normal. But fear isn't your enemy here, hesitation is. You're stronger than you think. And you're not alone." Cole chimed in without looking up. "Besides, we've got a secret weapon. Us." The words were simple, but the confidence behind them was unshakable. It was enough to steady the students, who began to follow the humans' lead with renewed focus. The plan unfolded with surgical precision. Under Cole's tactical guidance, the student-piloted ships executed maneuvers that would have been deemed impossible mere hours before. Using the asteroid field as cover, they lured the enemy fleet into a trap, cutting off their retreat and forcing them into close-quarters combat. Drake led one of the boarding teams, his presence a stabilizing force amidst the chaos. The alien students, initially hesitant to fight alongside him, found themselves drawing strength from his determination. They moved as a unit, clearing enemy ships with brutal efficiency. The enemy, however, was not without its own tactics. A massive dreadnought, bristling with weapons, loomed on the horizon, its firepower capable of obliterating the entire colony. It became clear that the human strategy, as effective as it had been, would not be enough to stop this final threat. "We'll never break through that shield in time," Zalthar said over the comms, his voice tinged with despair. Drake's response was calm, almost eerily so. "Then we go under it?" Cole's eyes widened as realization dawned. "You're not serious." Drake smiled grimly. "When have you known me not to be?" The plan was audacious, bordering on suicidal. Using a damaged frigate as cover, Drake's team would infiltrate the dreadnought, disable its shield generator, and set it to self-destruct. It was a one-way trip, but Drake didn't hesitate. "Sarah, you've got command," he said as he prepared to board the frigate. "If this doesn't work—" "It'll work," she interrupted, her voice firm. "You don't get to die on me, Drake. That's an order." He grinned. "Yes, ma'am." The infiltration was a blur of gunfire and adrenaline. The dreadnought's interior was a labyrinth of steel and fire, its defenders relentless. But Drake's team pushed forward, their resolve unshaken. When they reached the shield generator, Drake set the charges himself, his hands steady despite the chaos around him. "You've got 2 minutes to get clear," he said over the comms. "Don't wait for me." Cole's voice came through, sharp and filled with fury. "Damn it, Drake, you're not pulling this hero crap on me. Get out of there." But Drake knew there wasn't time. The enemy was closing in, and someone had to hold them off long enough for the charges to detonate. He didn't say goodbye, he just cut the comms and turned to face the oncoming tide. When the dreadnought exploded, it was as if a star had been born in the vacuum of space. The shockwave rippled outward, obliterating the remaining enemy ships and leaving the battlefield eerily silent. Back on the command cruiser, the students cheered, their voices a mix of triumph and relief. But Cole didn't join them. Her hands clenched into fists, her eyes fixed on the spot where the dreadnought had been. Then, against all odds, a small escape pod emerged from the debris, its thrusters flickering but functional. The cheer that erupted from the crew was deafening as the pod docked with the cruiser. When the hatch opened, Drake stepped out, battered but alive. You didn't think I'd let you have all the glory, did you? He said, his grin as cocky as ever. Cole punched him in the arm hard enough to make him wince. You're an idiot. An alive idiot, he corrected, and the two of them shared a rare, genuine smile. The battle was over, but its impact would ripple through the galaxy for years to come. The students had seen humanity at its best and its worst. Brilliant strategists, fearless warriors, and unyielding survivors. The ban on humans in galactic warfare would remain, not out of fear of their weakness but out of awe for their strength. As the academy returned to normalcy, the students carried with them a newfound respect for their human peers. They had learned that humans weren't just allies or anomalies, they were a force to be reckoned with, a species defined not by their fragility, but by their indomitable will. And in the quiet moments when the galaxy seemed vast and unknowable, they found comfort in one unshakable truth: humanity was on their side.